Everything at workplace centers on being able to give or receive feedback effectively. It's how we learn about our strengths and areas of improvement directly from those around us. And although we have been discussing feedback for centuries, to be honest, I believe we are still not very good at it. And this harms both our careers and our day-to-day lives. So what's going on? Well, the way we provide feedback isn't brain-friendly. Mostly, there are two problems. Either the feedback is too subtle or generic, leading the recipient to not even realize they've been giving feedback, or the feedback is too direct, causing the recipient to become defensive. That's why today I'm going to introduce you to 6 different feedback models that will enable you to provide feedback like a rock star. In addition, at the end of the video, I'll share my simplified version, a 4-step framework that I believe is applicable regardless of the situation or context. I've used it many times and I think it's very effective. Let's go! Welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Luciana and I'm a Senior Engineering Manager for Fortune 500 tech company, and my aim here is to empower you with genuine and sustainable knowledge that can help you grow your professional and lifestyle and boost your self-mastery journey. Now, let's finally make you nail that feedback. But before we jump straight into the models, let's talk about why feedback is so important. Feedback, when given correctly, can lead to amazing personal and professional growth. It boosts our morale and motivation, enhances performance, and strengthens us. It also creates a culture of open communication and continuous improvement. Without feedback, we would miss out on valuable insights that can drive us forward to amazing places. And the most important thing, well, feedback is often discussed at workplace, but in fact, this is something we should nail in our personal and day-by-day life too. Now, let's explore the 6 feedback models that can help us achieve these benefits. Our first model is SBI model, which stands for Situation, Behavior, and Impact. This model is straightforward and focuses on specific situations to avoid generalization and confusion. Using this model can clarify the issues without attacking the person, making it easier to discuss solutions. So here's how to do it. Start by describing the specific situation in which the behavior occurred. This helps to contextualize the feedback and ensures that the recipient understands the exact circumstances you are referring to. Then you need to clearly describe the behavior in question. It's important to focus on observable behavior rather than making assumptions about the intentions or the feelings. And lastly, explain the impact of the behavior on you, the team, the project. This helps the recipient understand the consequences of their actions and why this is important. Now, let's take an actual example. Say your peer missed a project deadline and you could say something like, "Hey Ben, remember last week when we were finalizing the project due to on Friday? You submitted your section on Monday, which was after our agreed deadline. This pushed back our review process and delayed the project's completion, affecting our team's overall performance." Now, moving on to the COIN model, which stands for Context, Observation, Impact, and Next Steps. This is great for structured feedback and encouraging a path forward. It's an enhanced version of SBI, in my opinion, and also starts with the context to set the stage for your feedback. For instance, you might say, "In yesterday's client meeting," so that's your context, "you articulated our strategy clearly," that's the observation. "This made the client feel confident about our plan, positively affecting our relationship with them," impact. Let's discuss how you can share your approach with the team to enhance our future presentations, next steps. Or for example, when cheating peer-to-peer, it might go like this. "Hey Ben, in yesterday's team meeting," context, "I noticed we both had overlapping ideas for the next product feature," that's the observation. "It seemed like it caused some confusion among the team about the direction we are taking," impact. "Maybe we can sync up before our meetings to align our thoughts. What do you think?" So that's your next steps. This model not only addresses what went well, but also how to leverage the success, and is particularly useful for setting the right scene for a two-way dialogue and for focusing on future improvement rather than on past mistakes. The third model is BOOST: Balanced, Observed, Objective, Specific, and Timely Feedback. This is useful for maintaining a positive tone and vibe. It goes like this. Ensure the feedback includes both positive aspects and areas for improvement to keep it balanced. For the observed path, focus on behaviors that have been directly observed rather than second-hand information or assumptions. Then keep the feedback objective by talking about observable actions and their impact rather than subjective judgments about personality or character. And be specific about what actions were effective or need improvement, avoiding general comments that can be hard to interpret and act upon. Finally, give feedback as close to the event as possible to ensure it's relevant and actionable. For example, "Hey, I really appreciate your innovative ideas in our brainstorming session. But I've noticed in the last few meetings you've been speaking over others before they share their thoughts. This has made few team members hesitant to share their ideas. For example, during Thursday's session when Jamie was outlining her proposal, she was interrupted a few times. I think it's important to address this now as we have another meeting scheduled for tomorrow." Boost is about motivation and encouraging ongoing effort. Our fourth model is 3 F's. Fact, feeling, and future. It integrates emotional intelligence into feedback, making it very effective for sensitive situations. Begin by stating the facts of the situation. This involves describing what happened in an objective and natural manner without interpretation or judgment. Express your feeling about the situation. These steps involve sharing your emotional response to the facts described, which helps to personalize the feedback and show the impact. And then conclude with a focus on the future. This involves discussing what can be done differently going forward, suggesting constructive ways to improve or continue the positive behavior. For example, "You interrupted me several times during the staff meeting." Those are your facts. "I felt my points were not fully heard." Feelings. "In future meetings, could we agree on a signal for when someone has finished speaking?" Future. Now, this model promotes empathy and mutual respect, which is key in sensitive situations. I find it very at point and effective. The fifth on our list today is the pedal-on model, which focuses on positive feedback first, followed by areas for improvement, always ending with suggestions for future action. Start with what the individual did well to build confidence and open the recipient to conversation. Then, instead of jumping straight into criticism, ask the recipient to reflect on what could be improved, encouraging self-assessment. And conclude by offering specific suggestions for how the recipient can improve, framed in a constructive and supportive manner. For example, "Your presentation had clear, concise slides and your delivery was confident. How do you think you could engage the audience even more? Next time, trying interactive questions might boost engagement." The interesting part of this model is that it really encourages self-reflection. And lastly, the STAR model, which is situation, task, action, and result. It's ideal for feedback related to specific tasks. For example, during the product launch, that's your situation, your task was to manage the customer escalation. You responded to queries promptly and professionally, which really improved our customer satisfaction rating. That's your result. I think using the STAR model can easily highlight achievements and clarify the impact on specific actions. Now, obviously, you can adapt it for more constructive feedback too. For example, during our team project last month, that's your task, you were responsible for compiling the final report. That's your action. But it was submitted 2 days after our deadline. That's the result. This caused our team to miss the opportunity for a final review, and we received feedback from the client about the delay affecting our project evaluation. And now, to maintain a constructive tone and encourage a positive outcome, you might add, "Let's discuss how we can manage our tasks more effectively for the next project to ensure that we meet our deadlines and maintain our team's reputation." And finally, as I promised, here's my approach when I handle feedback. First, I start by preparing the recipient that feedback is coming. For example, I might say, "Do you have 5 minutes to talk about how the presentation from our team meeting went?" Or for example, "Hey, I have some ideas on how we can improve ABC on the presentation you put together. Can I share these ideas with you?" I find it very effective when the other person is made aware of my intentions to share some feedback because first, it gets their brain ready for the feedback dialogue, and second, I get to hear if they are even interested in hearing or taking any feedback. They can respond with, "Yep, I want to hear your ideas," or "No thanks." Obviously, it really depends on the situation. Some feedback discussions must simply be held. My second step in the framework is what I call leading with facts. I usually specify exactly what I observed or heard, eliminating any fluff or subjective elements. I strive to keep things very specific, and for example, instead of telling someone that they are unreliable, I would say, "Hey, you mentioned you could send that report to our customer by 12, but it hasn't been sent yet." The reason why this is important is because it allows the receiver to fully understand where they need to improve their performance. This principle applies equally to positive feedback too. You want to specifically acknowledge what you appreciated and consider positive so they know what behaviors to repeat. And then my third step is a very similar approach to most of the models we discuss. I share the impact. It's easy for someone to miss the context and not fully understand the actual impact of their actions or inactions. For instance, you could say, because I didn't receive your message on time, my work was impacted. Or, I like how you structured your presentation in our team meeting today because it really helped me better understand our main goals for this year. This way, they get to hear and understand the actual impact. And finally, I conclude with a question such as, how do you see it? Or, this is I'm thinking we should be doing, but what do you think about it? This approach fosters collaboration and ensures that the feedback dialogue is a commitment between both parties rather than just a monologue. And these are the 6 models along with my own formula. However, before we conclude, there's one crucial point I believe we should all embrace more and maybe is the most effective strategy. And that's to actively seeking feedback rather than waiting for it to be offered. This positions you as a continuous learner and places the power in your hands. Another thing is that despite our best efforts to frame feedback constructively, it can still sometimes trigger defensive reactions. It really requires a level of self-mastery to handle feedback effectively. The reality is some people are particularly sensitive and even well-intentioned feedback may upset them. Often this can only be addressed through significant support, helping the recipient become more self-aware and develop a higher level of self-mastery. But now that you're familiar with these models, you have the flexibility to mix and match them, creating tailored framework for navigating any difficult conversation. If you found this video useful, I would appreciate your support by subscribing, like, share, comment, and thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm Luciana and I'll see you next time. Bye!